Hello, everyone, friends of astrology and the Sangha, the astrology family. Welcome back. Today's video is about the upcoming eclipse, October 14, 2023. It's a South Node Eclipse, and I'm gonna dedicate this video to explain what that means. I would probably not, I will probably make another video analyzing the chart for the eclipse more in detail with the aspects and everything. But in this video, I will explain how a South Node eclipse may affect your life. So you know how to contact me. Here's my contact information. I am on social media. You can order your reading at satsangadastrology.blogspot.com. Again, satsangadastrology.blogspot.com. And there I will show you later how to find the tab with the page. So to go to the page where I describe every kind of reading I do and how much, etc. So of course this is my YouTube channel, but you can also find me on Facebook, on MeWe, Tumblr, and this is my email address where you can send me your information, your confidential questions and information. And here is the link to order your reading. So here we have the October 14, 2023 solar eclipse in Libra, 21 degrees, 7 minutes. And this is Central Standard Time. And you see here, it's right next 3 degrees or so from the south node of the moon, and that's the only way an eclipse can happen. I will explain how. They're both very close to Mercury, and they are opposing directly to Eris and Chiron, and in fact they are in opposition to the midpoint between Chiron and Eris, and this is very significant, and I will explain later on. But it already gives this opposition between a rebellion that hurts and the need to find an agreement. The sun and the moon are trying in Libra to find a balance, right? That's why is the sign of the balance. And that's not the only thing, but they are in a kind of loose square to Pluto. So in fact, Pluto is still squaring the nodes within 3 degree orb. So we consider this as a square to Pluto as well. So very significant, I think potent and very powerful transformations are going on for everyone on Earth one way or another. In order to find out your personal chart, how is affected your personal chart, then you will need a specific personal reading. That's why I advise you to order a reading from your favorite astrologer and find out more specific influences to your personal life. There is also a T-square between Hygeia and Aquarius, Ceres and Scorpio, and Jupiter in Taurus. And I will dive more onto that, but it's definitely something of a prevention of illness through science and through certain groups of people who are dedicated to investigate health disease prevention that is triggering this opposition between Jupiter, the natural law about natural resources, and Ceres in Scorpio. Ceres in Scorpio needs intense nurturance. Ceres is the symbolism of nurturance, of care through food, through attention to the substances that we need in order to survive. So there is some relationship between health and food intake and morality, how to use resources in ethical way, etc. I'm gonna dive more specifically when I do another video, but please take these aspects. The moon and the sun are in conjunct Neptune, in conjunct Uranus, and opposing the midpoint between Chiron and Eris. This forms a finger of God, or a yod, and this yod, it's very powerful because the apex is a solar eclipse. There is a cycle starting, and there is a powerful force that needs to find balance. I won't say anything else. I will save it for next time. The ruler of Libra is Venus opposing Saturn, so this will take some time. So next I will explain about what a solar eclipse is. Here on this picture from timeanddate.com, you see what a lunar eclipse is, what a solar eclipse is. The solar eclipse is when the moon is between the Earth and the sun, and because of the sizes and the distance, the Earth, the moon from the Earth and the sun from the Earth, they seem to be the same size in the sky from our point of view. And that's how, in alignment like this with the nodes of the moon, then the sun is eclipsed or covered, right? So that's a time where we get less energy, because the sun, after all, is our source of energy. We may feel drained of energy, fatigued, very tired. So this is the alignment. And in order for the eclipse to happen, the sun and the moon need to be within 18 degrees each side of the nodal axis, or the nodes of the moon. So this is kind of an interrupted conjunction, right? It will be conjunction between the Earth, the sun, and the moon, but the moon is in between. It doesn't let us see. So the sun, or the consciousness, is temporarily covered or subdued by the unconscious. So we may have moments of revelation through intuition, through unconscious perceptions, that because we at that moment the consciousness is not full speed, right? So then the solar eclipse is usually a moment where we cannot use more of our left brain, but we need to tap into the right brain. So the general implications of an eclipse and how you will consider it when you analyze the chart. The eclipses affect the house where they fall, and the planet. If you have a planet at around 21 to 23 and a half, let's say, and before from 17, 18 to, from 18 and a half to 21. So from 18 and a half to 23, let's say, of the cardinal signs, more specifically Libra, then that planet will be more affected. And later on, I will talk about how a South Node solar eclipse will affect your planets one by one. So there you need to consider conjunctions, squares, oppositions to your planets. You need to consider the sign and house polarity, right? The opposition, as I said, in Aries. If you have something in Aries, it will be conjuncting the North Node, Eris, and Chiron, right? So you already have that energy there. And then the houses ruled by the sun and the moon, Leo and Cancer. So if an eclipse happens on your angles, like AC, ascendant, descendant, midheaven, and bottom of the sky, or IC, it will be stronger. As you already know, those are the axes of the matter. So it will be even more better felt. If there is a planet that is retrograde, then it will be more reflective, and you would need more effort in order to use this energy. So once the eclipse is over, other planets will be transiting that point, and that point will be already, let's say, affected, impacted, and it will be sensitive. So later on, Mercury will be traveling there, and it will be the first one coming, I think, and then Venus will, when those planets will pass through this 21 degree of Libra, you will feel a reactivation of the same themes in your life. So the most important thing to consider is that this is an eclipse on the South Node. I have already presented this years before, but I wanted to revise it for you since this will be a very important eclipse. So it's when the eclipse happens on the South Node, it opens an outlet to release all energy that we don't need anymore, and something changes radically. In this case, it's a cardinal sign, so more radically than other, and for example, in mutable signs. So the force that you feel will be draining. And the energy of a South Node eclipse is comparable to the combination of Saturn and Neptune. It's a dynamic of dissolution of matter, dissolution of structures, and it could bring restrictions, dissolutions, disillusionments. It could be difficulty, lack of vitality, as I said, because it's a solar eclipse after all. And oftentimes, whatever comes to our lives is perceived as negative or detrimental. It's usually perceived as a loss. And it marks an end of the cycle, of course, and a preparation for a new phase. It demands that we detach, that we release and surrender something or someone as well. It may cause an identity crisis because it's on the sun, right? The South Node on the sun. and the moon as well is part of our identity. So it's like feeling like one lets go of part of our ego. Now, a solar eclipse with a south node demands to surrender something or someone in order to begin a new phase. So oftentimes this is a painful process because some kind of a tragedy may happen. It depends, of course, on your personal chart. But I will analyze now, planet by planet, what would be the influence of any solar eclipse on your south node, on the south node, for any planet. In this case, I have the sun. And usually there is a significant contact or association with a father figure or any other authority figure. Sometimes it happens like a realization or accomplishment of a creative project or something professional, an accomplishment, a reward or something like that goes through. And it could be also a challenge to our identity, as I said, for example, becoming a father or a mother. And it could be a completion or loss of relationships with some authority figure or a father or a boss. It could be separation from a father figure or husband. It could be affecting the heart, right? Because the heart and the upper back is ruled by the sun and Leo, and it could also affect the moon ruled organs like the breast and all related to family, right? If you lose an authority figure in the family, then like a husband or a father, I don't mean that the person could go away, for example, for an assignment somewhere else, or it could be that other person was unemployed and finds employment, and then it has to get out of the house. It's a big change as well. So the house of Leo is also affected with changes, right? So you need to find out where the house of Leo is located, and the same for every planet with the house that it rules. So if the South Node eclipse happens on your moon, then there are new domestic conditions, usually because of some separation, losses, or anything that we are leaving behind. It could be that you move, for example. There are family changes, like your children, you go to college and you are empty nested, or things like that. So there could be changes and losses in relationship with your mother, with other women, separation or difficulties from the mother figure or the wife, problems of safety or problems related to the household of any sort, like moving houses. And it doesn't really need for the eclipse for the events to happen on the same day. It could have been a month before, because or 3 months before. And in fact, it could happen a month after. So it's the energy that impulses you to do the changes. So it doesn't need to be exactly on. The more exact is the conjunction or the aspect, then more exact would be the the effect of the energy. If it is your birthday, right, and meaning that the sun will be there, then it will be probably around the day of your birthday, more close than if there were another time of the year, like affecting another planet, not the sun. So they could be problems related to the safety or home related, like moving houses, as I said. Oops. It could affect the stomach that may need attention, maybe upset stomach or some other problem. The house occupied by Cancer is also affected with changes, especially things that we need to let go. So now the South Node Eclipse on Mercury, on the natal Mercury. So there are new communication issues and mental changes. Thinking, we may stop thinking about things that we used to think before, or we may stop in having an interest in reading certain topics. There could be changes or losses related to neighbors or related to your skills, for example, that you need to change your set of skills because you get a new job, for example, new trade. There could be difficulties with siblings, neighbors, separations. If you move, for example, there will be changes in the neighborhood. It could be problems with short trips, or your vehicles, changes related to paperwork and administrative tasks, contracts, business contracts and agreements. And the organs related to Mercury are the lungs, the intestines, the extremities, the arms and legs that may need attention for some reason. So the houses occupied by Gemini and Virgo are also affected with changes. As I said, usually something that you need to let go. Now, if the solar eclipse falls on your natal Venus, then you are facing new financial conditions. Something is completed, and you realize that you have certain issues with money that you need to take care. Also changes in values, what you value, what you desire, what you taste a bit better now. And it could be also a loss of a love relationship, separation from a lover, for example, problems related to or losses of possessions, or you are moving and you give up all your belongings. So the organs involved could be the senses, the pancreas, the throat, that may need attention for some problems there. And the houses occupied by Taurus and Libra are affected with the changes. And I repeat, the changes are always something that you need to leave behind, either your values, what you used to desire, it doesn't attract you anymore, and such. So a South Node eclipse on your natal Mars, then there could be new aggressive situations in your life, or new ways to initiate things. So probably things that got you angry before, now they don't, and the energy is changing. There could be conflicts that require you to let go of the conflict. Issues with men, with machines, possible violence, but everything has the point of having you change the way you deal with Mars, the Martian energy, which is initiating things, changes in the way you approach things, that you change, because Mars is the planet of action when you change something. And also your assertiveness. Maybe you were very assertive in certain situation and you don't need to be anymore. So it could reduce the initiative because of this draining force of the South Node. So reduce sexual libido, or reduce physical or willpower. You feel tired, as I said, so you probably don't have much of an energy during the time of the eclipse. It could last about a week or so, that you feel so drained. So problems with independence, right? You used to be very independent, but now you need to moderate that because, let's say, you got a child that needs attention, and you need to surrender some part of your independence. And it could be also related to self-image. And the parts of the body that could be affected are the head, the body, or blood may need attention. And the houses occupied by Aries and Scorpio are also affected, meaning that you need to let go of something on the themes of the houses. Suppose that Scorpio is your third house, for example. You may need to let go of always being suspicious of your neighbors. If it is Aries on your second house, right? You were always initiating the spending money. Well, maybe you need to stop that. And those are just examples. So now the South Node eclipse on your natal Jupiter, new conditions could be related to higher education, to culture, beliefs, travel. It means you may have planned to go for a long trip, and now you decide, well, you know what, this is not a good idea, and you surrender that plan. Or that you finish college and okay, now you are not in higher education anymore. So it can be changes or losses of luck, legal disputes, or prosperity. There could be in the world also loss of ethical behavior, and loss of morality, loss of legal, protections. Separation or difficulty with a close association, partner or something. Problems with publishing, with religious practice, or problems with some cultural issue, right? For example, in Iran, women need to use the veil, or what is it called? This cloth they wear on the head, and this is a cultural, religious imposition, right? And it might, it might mean in this case, with South Node eclipse on Jupiter, if you, for example, are Muslim women, then it might be that you surrender that cultural or religious. Or in France, for example, it's the opposite. Women are not allowed to wear that in schools. So these controversial things, that if you have this eclipse on Jupiter, you may have to surrender that kind of, I don't mean, this is just an example, right? It's not that everybody is in this case, but it's just an example of a religious custom or a cultural custom. So the organs involved are the liver, the upper legs or hips may need attention. So the houses occupied by Sagittarius and Pisces are also affected with changes. So the themes related to those houses you may need to let go of something there. South Node Eclipse on your natal Saturn. New conditions related to your management of time, your career, your public status. Maybe you change from working to being retired, or from being retired you decide to go back to work, or you are single and you decide to get married, and such things. Changes or losses in matters of responsibility, civil status, responsibilities in public life, separation or difficulty with a senior, with an elderly person in the family, a public authority, problems with discipline, problems of organization. We need to change something in the way you organize in order to be more efficient. Maybe you were following a certain discipline and now you need to change that or leave it behind. It could also affect your bones, your skin, your nails, and the health of an elderly person may need attention. So the houses affected are those occupied by Capricorn and Aquarius, with changes of things that you need to let go. South Node Eclipse on Chiron, and this is the case of an opposition, but if you have Chiron in Libra, for example, you are up for an emotional reactivation of old physical wounds or old spiritual wounds. It depends, relationship wounds in Libra. If this comes up, then you have the spiritual opportunity, a new spiritual perspective in order to heal that wound. And it triggers the need to attend to the wound in order to heal. So the body part will be associated with the sign Libra, right? And the house, the sign in Libra rules the organs of the small intestine and the kidneys. And the house, well, it depends on which house in your chart is occupied by Libra and the solar eclipse. So then we have the solar South Node Eclipse, solar eclipse on your natal Uranus. So there is a drastic and unexpected event, something that changes your perspective, that requires authenticity, that you all of a sudden you realize, I've been lying to myself, right? In Libra, it could be about a relationship and promotes innovation based on past conditions, changing those perspectives on a past condition. So the past collective technology or science affects the person. Freedom from past constraints, spiritual liberation from certain dependency, right? Uranus has the energy to break the rock, right? Uranus is the one breaking Saturn. And there is a downgrade social conditioning, meaning that the conditions of groups of people, political parties, and the marketplace, for example, are need to be adjusted. Any innovation and new technology could have a downside. Recently, there was an iPhone that in Europe was disapproved and removed from the market because of the electric emissions, something like that. It was over the limit that Europe established. So suddenly a person may leave your life, right? And the body parts affected could be the shins, the nervous system, asthma, allergies, and such illnesses related to air pollution. So next, South Node solar eclipse on your Neptune. You may feel more inclined to spirituality. South Node is usually more spiritual, more concerned with issues that are not material, and is usually more associated to let go. And as I said at the beginning, the South Node eclipse is of the energy of Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn, discipline, Neptune, spirituality. So it could be that you are more inclined to charity, to service. Is a time to release also emotional issues that are no longer good for you. And you may have vivid dreams and revival of your artistic talents, for example, and even revival of your need to express yourself through art. But on the negative side, it could be self-sabotaging behavior, like addictions that go take you through the drain, confusion, uncertainty, deception, disillusionment. And also, when you try to fix some problem, you may be missing information. So you have the risk of self-deception as well. And those are the negative influences of Neptune when you don't know how to handle its energy. Neptune requires to see through the material reality into the spirit, into the purpose of why physical things have impermanence and change all the time. And it's not, the purpose of life is not to deal with the material per se for the material, but we are dealing with a certain kind of physical reality in order to develop our spiritual life. So Neptune is the planet that represents that. And finally, the South Node eclipse on Pluto can give you a new kind of understanding of past changes, of past transformations. You may be reflecting under the surface. And Pluto usually works unnoticed, but is super powerful. It is a powerhouse, and it encourages you to detach from something, to let go. It's the planet of I always say the planet of composting, right? It's the planet that destroys in order to create something new. So you may undergo a healing crisis, psychological clearing. It would be if your Pluto, natal Pluto is affected with this, you may benefit from psychological therapy, but you may feel disempowered in a way, in some way. So, and sometimes if it relates to material things, then you may need to go over shared finances, mortgage, inheritance. And if you have trust issues, you may need to let go. For example, if you are jealous or you are affected by jealousy, or you desire things that are not good for you, you may need to let go of those. And the organs affected will be the colon, the genitals, reproductive organs. So in order to order your reading, you can go to satsang@astrology.blogspot.com, and you will find this heading. And over here, if you see the pointer, it says how I work and what I offer. This is the tab. And you click on that tab and you get this page. So here it explains, you scroll down and there is an explanation for each of the readings I offer and how much I charge for them. So I invite you to come to my blog and order your reading. So be prepared for the eclipses. They are powerful, powerful sources of energy that can help turn your life around in any way. So be clear on how this eclipse will affect you, and I will see you soon. I will talk to you through email and in our interview for the reading. Thank you so much, and please give a like and subscribe to the channel. That supports me. Thank you so much, and see you next time when analyze the chart.